Thanks for watching Twitch and or YouTube. I'm Josh. I'm a full-time independent open source maintainer in the TypeScript ecosystem, and I'm streaming again today. Life is good. I'm in a chill mood. Whew. Having a slow start. Oh, I can already tell the back problems are going to be a thing this stream. I'm going to adjust my mat. It's a whole thing. Anyway, put Josh in the chat. Learner, how's it going? Thanks for coming on as always. The Marshall Home Goods near us have started stocking Halloween things. I don't have too much of a structure planned. 1 year work, you made it. Congratulations. How do you feel? Just figured I have a lot of things, but I want to at least get through the typescript-eslint PRQ that I have as a bookmark. Because there have been some things floating around. For reference, this putting in the chat is the search that I have for my backlog that I'll get to. There are the pull requests, and then also there are the issues. This is the issues one is kind of growing, but the pull requests at least I wanna get to. Oh, here we go. So actually I should update my search to minus label blocked by external API, because that one there is blocked. So there's no need for me to review it today. Is there a way to automate some menial PRs with maybe actions like bumping versions on a release? Yeah, we've tried to. For the most part, these PRs are semi-automated, like creating them semi-automated, and auto merge is enabled. So in theory, all I have to do is approve and they should merge. And then we also have weekly releases that automatically happen of everything that's been merged. We don't push new commits for we don't push new stable versions for every change, but we do have canary versions. So like every commit becomes a version, I want to say. Actually, I forget. What's our versioning guide say about this? Versioning, releases. Oh yeah, for each commit to made, we do get a canary. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, for a lot of these, it's just I can go through, see that the build passed, and then merge it, which actually is what I'm going to do here. For this one, starting with the PR backlog, actually, since it's smaller. So a trio, one dependo bot PR. Renovate? What are we using? Renovate. Is this? Yes, this is the one. Do. Reply. Yep, this looks good. So I'll just merge it in. Oop, don't want to wait for successful checks because they take forever. That was 7493. Types node and lint staged. With lint staged, you get a little bit of trickiness if they change the format. But just looking at release notes, it's just a couple of bug fixes around updating dependencies and redundant braces and pattern detection, which I don't think should impact us. So I'm just going to merge. Whoop. And another. Channeling my DJ Khaled this fine morning. And types node is just a typings update. It doesn't even impact runtime. See what the package diff is. Yeah, it's just a bunch of DTS files. TypeScript definitions. So that's just squash and merge. Nice and easy. And another one. These are out of order. I did 91 before 90. Silly. Alright, so that gets the queue down just a little bit smaller. Okay, this should be a more juicy PR. Looks like Brad started reviewing. Oh yeah, this PR has been around for a while. Armano is someone who does work on the website once in a while, and it's this big flurry of activity whenever it happens. It's always exciting. I always forget. Armano. Playground improvements. So what's going on? Let's look at this PR. Chore website, add types to Playground. I'll pin it in the Twitch chat. Extracted from 6656. Armano's a maintainer, which helps with doesn't address an issue. So yeah, Armano was just working on the website. We've talked about this privately, adding a whole bunch of things to it, and this PR is huge. So I remember a long while ago, I looked at it, and then it's kind of hard to review. So could you split it out? And it looks like Armano did. So just adding a types tab to the Playground. Let's look at the preview and see how that differs compared to the existing Playground. So this is in the chat, typescript-eslint.io/play, what it is today, and then in the Playground, or in the preview version, the PR preview, I see there's this types tab that's been added. So like, let value equals true, let's say. Oh, look at that. That's awesome. We have like contextuals, flow nodes. I don't even remember half the time what these do. Object flag, a little overflow scroll there. That's okay. Could contain type variables, contain spread, is class instance, all this stuff. So yeah, this is the node itself, and then it's type, which is interesting. If you select something which is an error type to string is any, but intrinsic name is error. So that lets you know that if you were to select this equals token and ask for its type, you get error, any. But the node itself is Boolean, and the literal itself is false, so that's cool. Works pretty great. If we copy some stuff and then paste, whoa, lordy, that's a lot. And if we paste the type, that's cool. Maybe you could remove checker from the paste. Don't really need that. Yeah. Yeah, no, this is great functionally. Emma, how's it going? Just reviewing a PR. Adds to our Playground. Love a Playground PR. Little types tab. Alright, so merge issue. Just looking at the code. First thing I see is a couple of removals from a package. I don't know if that's like because this was a long-standing PR that's had merge from other branch happen a few times. So I'm just gonna skim through, just looking at how the files are going. I see there are a few added components: type info, type details, simplified tree view, and then a few wrapping changes. So mark this as viewed. Tab code and playground info container now both have a height maximum. This playground info container. Is that an existing class or a new one? Let's take a look. 6843 GHPR check out this thing. So what was it? It was playground info container I was interested in. Yeah, that is new. No existing uses of this class. So we're saying not only is the tab code, we also this playground info container should have these properties. I'm wondering if we should just replace tab code with playground info container altogether. So let's see. If we switch tab code to what's the style that was added? Overflow auto. Doesn't look like it breaks anything, so that's cool. Yeah, so I'll comment. Looks like playground info container is a more generalized version of tab code. Could we merge them together and replace tab code with playground info container altogether? I tried in the deploy preview just adding the overflow auto. Oops, where'd I go? To tab code styles, and it seems to not harm anything. Yeah, maybe we can have a little deduplication. That'd be nice. Nothing major though. Otherwise, looking at the playground component, it looks like this is simplified. Previously, we had an individual piece of state for each of the ASTs, the ECMAScript, the TypeScript. Oh, this isn't even AST, the scope analysis. Now, I think this would be a fourth one, so they've been deduplicated or merged into this update model, which is okay. An existing type that was already used. So this I kind of like. Raise. Yeah, I like reducing the number of state hooks. That's nice. And then AST to show and all these things. These are moved. So now what happens is there's, oh boy. So there's a types details that gets shown. Let's take a look at the code. So depending on state, whatever, show AST, we're basically switching on state.showAST on what we should show. So if it's ES for the ES tree, we show a filter, and then the error viewer or whatnot. Let's see, what happens if it's ES? Okay, so yeah, if the state, the AST to show is ECMAScript, we show a query filter. If there's an error, the error viewer, and otherwise it's shown in the AST viewer. This is getting a little complicated, but I think it's fine. So then this types one is a newly shown thing. Yeah, I probably would have, I don't know, refactored this into another component, but it's fine as is. And amusing. Agreed. I don't personally think of it as a blocker, but it would be nice to have maybe a good follow-up first issue for a potential contributor. If any of y'all in the chat are interested, might be a good thing to try out. This is something I always try to keep an eye out for as a maintainer. Are there things that aren't really blocking but would be not too difficult to do, or at least relatively more straightforward than the more complex changes? Good little ways to help people get involved. But alright, yeah. Otherwise, Playground TSX looks fine. Loaded editor. We now have the single AST change and such corresponding to the states. Same with editor types, just common editor props is changed. Use hash states. Oh yeah, the state is stored in the URL. So I want it to be that if I refresh, we go back to types. Nice. Scope. Stays in scope. TypeScript. ES tree. See, it's up there. Nice. All right, options. Yeah, added the new tab. This array stores the tabs with the value and label for each. Now we get to the new stuff. Simplified tree view, type info, and types details. So I'm going to look at these on their own. So this comes with, I'm going to zoom out, root component for this one, parent one, simplified tree view, which has a wrapping div. Was that Tailwind or like the DocuSource equivalent? I think the DocuSource stuff. And then simplified item, which is this component. So this is the simplified tree view of type details. So we memoize what are these items based on the value. Value.for each child result.push. Why don't we just const result equals value? Oh, value.for each child is an API we need. Value.for each child. Okay. On hover is a callback where if the node is hovered and it's a TypeScript node, I'd probably just do this, but I think it's fine. Stylistic choice. If there is a V. Alright. Yeah, on hover looks pretty reasonable. And then lastly, we have for each node a div, and then for each of its children. Okay, so yeah, there's a container div. We have the property name itself describing the thing, and then the simplified item, which is recursive. All right, so yeah, that's a basic tree view. Yeah, it makes sense to me. No complaints so far. All right, so what's type info? Type info is in type details, or types details, which is in Playground. So Playground renders type details, types details. Types details renders a simplified tree view, which is what we were just looking at. So types details. Yep, that's what we were. Wait. Oh no. Okay, this is all right. So if use an effect based on the cursor position value. So every time the cursor position changes, if you're now selecting a TS node, you set selected node. Okay. Use what is cursor position? So cursor position comes from this position state in the playground, which is something that previously was used in the ASD viewer. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Would have been nice to be a little more like on change-y instead of like an effect, but this is going to get refactored eventually, and it's not something I particularly feel passionate about. So, yeah, this all looks good to me. I'm happy. Type info looks reasonable. I think let's look at type info. Simple field. I'm not a huge fan of names like simple field, but it's fine. Label looks a type to string. I remember that from the PR. So type group props. You might have a type. You might have a string. Flodo, not part of the public API. Yeah, that's been a pain. Aha, fun fact, you don't need a catch. With an error, you can just catch nothing. Alright. Type checker not available. That's like the error case. This is fine. Yep. This is great. Thanks. Just a couple of small questions or comments. Nothing blocking. Can we zoom a bit? I can't effectively review the PR if I zoom in further. Right now it's, what zoom level is this? Zoom Yeah, I've noticed that once this horizontal or this vertical line gets past the horizontal midpoint, I have a hard time. So apologies. I'll try, but I might have to go back. For the PR, I can zoom. Is this good? Let me know. Yay, we finished this one. Sorry that it's not zoomed a super amount. Yay. Awesome. So yeah, I'd say, oh yeah, it's not clear here. Whenever you want to merge, because it's another maintainer, I'll indicate that it's explicitly for them to merge. All right, moving on for the queue. I don't need to approve this, so I'll just add the one approval label. We previously looked at playwright/test, but there was a separate issue that I've seen. So I'm going to mark this as blocked in another issue. This is just a thing from the previous PR, or pardon me, from the previous stream. Excuse me. We got there it is. 7434 was the tracking issue for things are breaking. Marking block. Yeah. Playwright is our browser test, so I don't want to update browser test dependencies until the browser tests are stable. All right. Gotta update my my queue bookmark here, blocked by the issue. Let's change that PR review queue bookmark. There we go. Post it in the chat. Open in Playground button to code examples. Oh yeah. So I added a nice little feature to the eslint.org docs list rules, where you should be able to open it in the playground button. Yeah. This was after I asked about it because on typescript-eslint, our rules pages, we have a try rule in the playground button. This was like the MVP approach, what we added in ours, where it's just one button per rules page. eslint.org, they wanted it more specifically an open in playground link on each code block, so that you get the specific code being shown. So that's nice. And that actually, I believe that the open per code block was a feature that Brad had requested in the original PR for typescript-eslint. All right, so now we have a PR for it. So thank you, Hao Chang 6 from Germany. Always forward. You pin that to the chat, post about it online. More website PRs. This is individual PR or playground links per rule code block. Okay. This might get juicy. Updates the generated rules docs plugin to add an eslint RC hash for the meta string of each correct and incorrect code sample. But if only code blocks inside of a tab will be processed by the plugin in this way. The string is parsed by the code block string component. When eslint RC hash is detected, the component will render an open playground button at the bottom of the code block. Oh my god, 60 files changed. Also manually update some docs to add additional columns to the meta string of code blocks. If show playground button is present, the plugin will add a hash to the meta string. It's useful for code blocks that are not inside a tab. Interesting, so only code blocks inside a tab will be processed. Okay. Also decreases the font size of the try this rule in the playground link to de-emphasize it visually. Ooh, I got a hooray from Armando. Nice. Ooh, I do like that. Being smaller. Open in playground. Okay. Let's look at the files. So 60 files, and yeah, most of them great. Most of them are not super giant. It is options being added to the code block. I wonder if I should ask for this to be options. Why is this prettier ignored? Let's open the PR. What number was it? 7482. Git pull yarn ban tscomment.md. Actually, while I'm here, I'm going to start marking all these files as viewed because they look good. I wish there was a mark all with extension as viewed option in the GitHub PR. This says show playground button. Yeah, it's an interesting design point. How to indicate which ones should or shouldn't have the open and playground button. What's going on here? Just removing these. Yeah, probably don't need those comments. I feel like I remember thinking that a while ago and never taking action. Halfway there, wow, living on a prayer. Dead air we got. Today's stream is brought to you by boredom. Okay, now we're on to the juicy things. Alright, so we got code block, content string. Oh yeah, ban ts comment ts dash or prettier ignore. So this thing was pure ignored. What happens if I remove it? Aha. It messes with the quotes or with the backslashes. Lovely. Okay. Seems reasonable to me to keep it in then. But anyway, code block slash string. What's changed? We're adding an eslint-rc hash, which is a parse eslint-rc function, which is new. So parse eslint-rc takes in a meta string, which is what? From code block string. So that's actually an existing prop from. Okay. Apparently we support line numbers. Alright. eslint-rc hash. Taking that out. And using it where? If we have a hash, we add the try and playground button with the hash. Okay, so that's the code block. Then, actually I want to open this PR preview. See how that looks. Open a playground. Well, that works. That's nice. Cool. And if we look at the HTML, we get that nice href. And I wonder what the component props look like. Href, mdx create element with an eslint-rc hash. Alright. So that makes sense to me. Looks good so far. Oh, did these not mark as viewed? Okay, here we go. My main concern here is that we're passing a hash down to the code block already. Otherwise I would have been like, well, should we pass the code itself? But yeah, this seems fine. Code block referenced anywhere. Yes. Nope. So we already have styles as a file, so we're adding a new style, a new class for playing our button container. This is fine. I like the button. So now we have this try in playground button. Try this rule in the playground is no longer the hard-coded child. Now it's children linked. Try this rule. Wait. Where is try in playground used? In one place. It's rendered directly. That's code block string, and then the other is if we have a try in playground mdx shenanigan. Here we go. Try this rule in the playground. One note is that the site today has that little like arrow tick, little top right arrow, and I like that to indicate that it opens in a new tab. So I think I want that always. What did we do for eslint.org? Did we keep the? We didn't keep it. Okay. Well, if eslint.org doesn't have the arrow, we don't need it. I don't like being different. Code hash, parameter set code hash. Oh, yeah, this all looks reasonable to me. So the big changes were that there are different options now in some of the files. Oh yeah, where is show playground button used? Excluding .md files, it's in generated rule docs.ts. Oh yeah, gotta look at that file. I marked it as viewed, but I didn't mean to. Alright, so line 43, we have an option regex, dsntrc string. Why make a variable up here on line 160? What's going on there? So let eslint.rc. Can I replace? And then we use it later on. So okay. What else we got changed? The two places where we set eslint.rc is get eslint.rc string false in this place. Why are we passing in false? With comments, boolean. This is existing code. And it was already there. So now we're just reusing this eslint.rc value. Okay. And then add eslint.rc hash to the meta string of each correct or incorrect code sample for each node of children. If node tab is JSX and value node and type and value string. If it starts with tab item and side tab is true, continue. Oh boy. So for each of the nodes, if we see a tab item, we mark that we're inside a tab. Oh boy. So this is the logic they mentioned in the PR description, that if you're inside tabs, we want to sorry, we want to add the link. And then that inside tab value is checking if the node is code and either you're inside a tab or the meta includes show playground button. And you also want to make sure that the meta includes an eslint.rc hash. Okay. All right. Why is let playground eslint.rc equals eslint.rc or replacing around? Okay. Oh, this is a fun one. If the node meta doesn't include ESLint. Oh, yeah, we're good. The question mark there is necessary. Stefan, welcome. Thanks for coming over. Is this an ESLint issue here? We say if this matches, then go for groups.option. This is in violation of one of our lint rules. We definitely have a rule for this. Optional something other. No non-null. Aha. Yes. No non-null asserted optional chain. What a lovely rule name. Let's just give the regular link for this one. What do I categorize this comment as? Let's say, I don't know, nitpicking. I think we can replace the with, or vice versa. Alright, so if we do see an option, then we replace error with the option in the ESLint RC. So in the config, instead of saying rule name error, we say rule name array error stuff. And then we try to stringify it. And yeah, we have a nice little message there. Otherwise, node.meta is adding an ESLint RC hash. Okay. Looks good to me. So I really only had the one or two comments here, right? Just the one? Yeah. Yeah, we're saying if the node has a meta, then try its match option regex. And if that gives a result, ask for groups. Well, then this all definitely existed, so ask the option of it. So this looks like a violation of that lint rule. The no non-null asserted optional chain. Yeah, good observation there. Oh, exclamation mark dot. Yeah, that's the non-null assertion operator. It says whatever you had on the left of it, remove null or undefined from the type. So. Also, just looking at the style, I don't like how we add a lot of extra vertical space for this open in playground button. On the current site, I want to say we don't. Yeah, a lot of extra space there, so I kind of want to request something changed here. Overflow auto padding. But what if you did like margin top -1 rem? Z index 1. Nope. Has to be position relative. Yeah, that looks better to me. Margin top -2, position relative. So that's the playground button container. Yay! I'm glad you've learned something. That's awesome. That's what I'm here for. That is a TypeScript thing. Anything that has to do with the type system right now, like saying it was one type but I'm telling you it's this, is a type system thing. Yes. So if you're relatively newer to TypeScript, then this is definitely not something that you would have seen in your JavaScripty days. All right. Not a huge fan. The button, I want to compliment here because the button does look good. The button looks great in general, but there is a bit of extra vertical spacing that I find a little awkward. Screenshots of the no non-null asserted chain examples showing more vertical space dedicated to the new button than to Existing code lines. Yeah, just a couple of small things on this pull request. Just the extra space. Ooh, which I do want to get a screenshot of the change for. Actually, honestly, -4 looks better to me. Yeah, what's going on here? Why does this thing have so much weird padding going on there? Weird. Anyway, let's switch that to -4 rem. Screenshot of the same example, but with much less vertical space just used for the button. Snazzy. And I do mean snazzy. Like how the docu-source code gen is set up. I really like how you added to the docu-source code gen. Generation. Yeah. All right. So that was a fun little PR. Let's move on to another thing. Properly check out repo and prettier update workflow. Ooh, this will be juicy. Let's take a look. So I noticed this. You definitely can ask a question. I'm sorry. I used to be so much better at this, at saying, yeah, no, please ask away questions on TypeScript, open source, etc. When would you use bang? What a great question. Let's look at the TypeScript playground. So let's say you have a let maybe, which is a string or undefined. You have function populates, maybe equals yippee. And then you say function log value, which does like populate and then console log, or let's say uppercase. My value is maybe dot to uppercase. And then you call this. Or honestly, don't even need this to be in a function. It can just be on its own. Isn't TypeScript all about knowing type and not running into undefined is not a function? That's a big part of it. In general, the goal of TypeScript is to give you a good, stable type system that can represent most common JavaScript patterns in a mostly safe way. No type system is perfect, especially when you're dealing with a wacky, fun language like JavaScript. So TypeScript does its best. That's the goal. And we want that type system to represent our JavaScript logic and flow and values, our intent, for a few reasons. A few benefits of the type system. It catches bugs. For example, the dreaded undefined is not a function when you call a value that's actually undefined. And also because it's better documentation for your code, we can explicitly describe the intent of it. And better dev tooling, because types help you reason about and make changes to code automatically. But not everything is perfect. And here's an example where, as humans reading this code right here, which actually I'll paste the link to it in the chat, we know that after line 7, when we call populate, this maybe variable is definitely going to be a string. And if we run the code, it'll always pass. But TypeScript doesn't know that, because TypeScript doesn't have effects or dependent types, which is the term for a type that would understand that after calling this populate function, maybe is narrowed. It's no longer the general string or undefined. It's specifically more narrowly just string. TypeScript has no idea. So what you would use typically here, other than a large code refactor, is an as assertion, maybe as string. This as assertion tells TypeScript, I know you think it's one thing, but actually it's this other thing. Let's console.clear. Code still works, and in fact, if we look at the resultant JavaScript, the as assertion just goes away. This is a type system feature. It's like the type annotation here. It goes away. It's not JavaScript. It's just a TypeScript thing. But there's an alternate syntax for type assertions. And we actually have a rule for it in typescript-eslint. It's, what is the rule? Assertion, what is it? Non-null assertion. There's something in our stylistic config around non-null assertion. Ugh. Well, let's see if it's this rule. Oh man. I forget, honestly. We have a rule somewhere that says instead of using the longer form as, saying that something is as whatever the type it is minus null or undefined is the same as a bang, as adding an exclamation mark there. And now I'm annoyed. What is that? Let me see if we have it enabled in the code base. Let's just. Here we go. Non-nullable assertion type assertion style. Yeah, so an as is the same as an exclamation mark if the type you're setting it to is the same as its original type minus null and undefined. So here, it's exactly the same to, instead of an as string, fix it to an exclamation mark. So an exclamation mark is just a syntax shorthand for a type assertion. Ta-da! And you might use it because TypeScript's type system isn't perfect. It doesn't understand everything. Sometimes there's code that's difficult to type, and you need an assertion. In TypeScript, in my example, TypeScript knows a string because of line 2. I'm guessing because of the lag, you said that when this line was on 2. Here, it's this maybe. TypeScript knows that it's a string or undefined. It doesn't know on line 10 that it's specifically more narrowly string. And you have to say that it's, let me turn on strict null checks. Strict, true. You have to tell it it's not string or undefined. It's not possibly undefined. You don't know this, but I, the author, am smarter than you in this case, and I say, shut up, it's definitely non-null. Yeah, exactly. I'm saying it's non-null, not nullable, not undefined. Shut up, TypeScript, you're wrong, is kind of the vibe we're going for here. It is fancy, yeah. I like that. I mean, most of the time, this is not the right thing to do, but once in a while, there is a case where, yeah, TypeScript type system is wrong. Cool. And let me paste the link here. Would you type guard? That's one way of doing it. You can say, like, if value, for example. You can say that. Oh, not value, if maybe. But that's annoying. Because I don't want to have to do this in my code. I don't want to have to say if maybe every time. Like, why am I changing my runtime logic? Because TypeScript isn't smart enough for this. So yeah, typeguard is another thing you can do. But, or even if type of maybe equals string. That's another way. But yeah, these are all different options. My pleasure. And please, ask more questions. Thank you for asking. But in the meantime, I'm going to go back to this issue. Prettier update on git push. Fatal, you're not currently on a branch. That's the backing issue I filed yesterday. Mr. Coins, thank you. First time, welcome. So this issue is, we have Renovate set up, the service that automatically sends pull requests to update dependencies. And it sent one for Prettier. But the problem with updating your formatter or any dependency that auto-formats your code for you is that you need to rerun the formatter every time you change its version. Because what if they changed the logic of the formatter and now it reformats differently? And that's why we have this little Prettier workflow, prettier.update.yaml, that says when any pull request to the main branch that touches package.json, if it's from Renovates, then rerun Prettier. More specifically, if it's from the Renovate bot, and we change the Prettier version in package.json. So if I didn't write this code, I wouldn't be able to write this off the top of my head, but just skimming through it, if something to do with the difference of the older commit involves Prettier in your package.json, then name was changed is true. Otherwise, we just say it wasn't changed. Anyway, if Prettier is changed, then we update Prettier formatting. The problem is, this didn't work The action run that tried to do this got to the point where it ran prettier, and then it made the commit, and then it tried to push the commit, but it was told, error process completed with Xcode 128, you are not currently on a branch. Womp womp. So this person, thank you, Avred, is trying to fix that for us. And let me just socialize it out. No social media. PR to fix an issue with our prettier auto updating. Love it when people send PRs for our repo tooling. It's not normally the thing people externally go for. It's not as flashy for users, but it makes me happy. Okay, with ref GitHub event pull request at ref persist credentials false. So we're saying when we check out the repo, don't check out the specific commit as the ref, the thing you're checking out. Check out the pull request's head. Ugh, the 3x social, yeah. And I would be playing 4 if Threads had a web app. It's annoying. I hate this. And I don't use cross posters because they all have like subtly different shenanigans for the posting, like different limits, different markdown support. Annoying. Okay. So it looks like, did I paste this in the, I did not. I know. How many are you on? Is it more or less than the 3? 2 is, oh, not on the B-Scry? Honestly, it's been a lot less active recently than it was when I started. I don't know. I would like to drop them, but 2 is enough. Yeah. Okay, so it looks like there are 2 references they posted here. One is fatal, you're not currently on a branch, which is what people get. The same issue as us. Self-host runner. Seems like the problem is that PRs are not the same as regular branches, and solution just said use the right ref. But I'm not working with pull request. That's not us. Okay, looks like a lot of people. I like how GitHub like marks these likely answers now. Swell. And then persist credentials is another thing, where v2 auth is persisted in git config. They want to override the auth. Blah blah blah. Where do we get persist credentials? Doesn't actually mention persist. Are there like hidden responses or something? How do we know this? Persist credentials. All right. Cool. Yeah. No. Definitely tag me on that blog. I would love to see that. Thanks for coming in and chatting. Bye. So, persist credentials false is designed to turn off this behavior. What is persist credentials false though? In order to okay. So people are asking for this to be the default. Alright, yeah, this looks good to me. So I'm happy. Let's try it out. Thanks. Alfred. Looks good. Yay. And I'll just merge. Love it when they explain their things well. That's always nice. Look at this. Okay, so there are 2 left, and one of them's a typo fix. So I'm just going to do the typo fix first, because it'll be quick. Also, I'm really excited. I like Tiger Oaks, not words. So let's look at the typo fix. See if they're on. Ooh, they are. Little typo fix time. PR from about the member ordering rule docs. And, oop, that's not what I meant to do. Here we go, 7488. Do I not get the link card offered? There we go. Very nice. So, fixed typo in member ordering. Oh, I forgot to label this as accepting PRs. I see it's labeled as good first issue. My bad. Whew, excuse me. So it looks like, yeah, so we just did a copy pasta. Members are in an alphabetic case sensitive order is mentioned both in the alphabetical and the insensitive one, so it's just a small typo. So let me pin that in the chat. So looks good. I see we got an approval from this person. Is that person who filed? I already forget who filed the issue. Yeah. Nice. Great. Looks good to me. Just the one thing. Docs. Type number ordering. Right now we have an old issue tracking that we don't exclude website scopes changes from the release notes, which is annoying. So. Broom. That's a whole thing. Anyway, looks good. Squash and merch. Great. Now we get to do this much more juicy one from Not Woods. Tiger Oaks is like one of my favorite people. Oh, and Twitch isn't letting me pin the message. That's fun. Let's see if it works this time. Pin. There we go. Okay. Oh, yes. Yes! So, I filed an issue 5 days ago saying I recently learned that the ESLint logical assignment operators rule does not get turned on in any of our internal linting. I really like it. It's a rule that says if you are writing something like A equals A or B, you can actually short it to A or equals B, that type of thing. It's like a nice little stylistic, FYI, there's a better way. And actually, if you look at my recent speaking gigs, like the slides I've given out recently, so many of them talk about that specific rule actually as like a canonical example, like the Platonic, this is what a ESLint rule does. Come on, OneDrive, get your shit together. Oh my God. Love PowerPoint, hate OneDrive, I swear to God. Come on, PowerPoint for web, you got this. Anyway, yeah, so when I present to people, I'm like, what is static analysis? I show that this is what a formatter does, and then I show that, like, on top of that, this is what a linter does. Here we go. It says, fun fact, you can change it. Wow, these fonts are not the right fonts, hence the weird squiggly width. Yeah, so this rule, this is good. This makes me happy. Tiger's been sending PRs off and on for a little while now, which I love. Oh, and even praise. And it even respects the existing alphabetical order of rules. Love it. All right, so yeah, it looks like there's just a whole bunch of x equals x or y becoming x or equals y. It also works the rule for the question mark, nullish coalescing operator. So this makes me happy. Love it. Thanks as always, Woods. Yeah, so this is great. This makes me really happy. I'm gonna go text Tiger after this. Squash and merge. Unfortunately, I really have to use the bathroom when it's been almost exactly an hour, so I'm going to take a quick ad break. Oh no, did I post about this online? I did it. A cleanup PR from Tiger Oaks. Not Woods, by the way, which is a really funny, I think. It's in reference to Tiger Woods, I believe. Yeah, but I'm going to take a quick ad break, and when I come back, I'll get onto the issues queue, I think, because the PR queue will be empty. Look at that! 0 open in the search. Bye! Okay, dokie. Sorry about that. Took a little longer than I thought. Got distracted by something. Let's move on to the issues. Woo! Look at this. 26 open. That's so many issues. And one of them is a dependency dashboard. So that's... I don't like that it auto-opens this. I feel like I've never actually used it. Ooh, except I really like this feature. Create all pending approval PRs at once. Yeah, let's... Oh, yeah. Let's make those PRs renovate. Cool. Ignore they're blocked. Yeah. So that's cool. Anyway, the existing 25, I think, issues I want to look through. Let's go to the oldest one, Rebecca Stevens, one of my favorite online people who I've worked with on things and never actually met in person. Looking at this, it's just confirming this is triage. Okay, yeah, I put it back into triage 2 weeks ago. So let's take a look. And that completes the PR review queue. If I missed your PR, then sorry, let me know. My search isn't showing it. On to issues. One from Rebecca. Is Rebecca Stevens on Twitter or some such? I feel like I keep looking this up and no. From don't believe so. Yeah. It's been in and out of the queue. Starting with one that's Becca Stevens, collaborator on TSAPI utils. Collaborator, co-maintainer on TSAPI utils. Yeah, 6814. We were working in the 7,000s and now we're down to the 6,000s. Whoa. We're honestly getting to the point where it'll soon, look at that, exactly 0 characters left. It'll soon be in the like 10,000s range at our currently rate. It'll happen by the end of the year. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, 6814. Currently pinned to the chat. Get parser services context true throws an error in v6. Get parser services is like a utility that we expose for lint rules. You've used a rule which requires parser service to be generated, but my context of parser services is an empty object and thus the error is thrown. What? Get parser services T options. Allow without full okay. Inherited through its prototype chain. Wild. Yeah, Brad can't repro. So the issue is that if you use Babel as the parser, then you're going to have a bad time because RAST, abstract syntax tree, the way we represent code is different from Babel's. So now they're saying maybe you should return null if the parser isn't typescript-eslint parser. Maybe a third Boolean to explicitly opt into other. Got it. So this is where we went back into triage. So we don't want to make things silently pass when it could lead to breakages. Yeah, so I agree. Agreed that silently passing when things should break is confusing. Could be confusing, or would be confusing. I'd like to see it switched to throwing an error by default, honestly. If you're trying to get type info in a rule and it's a Babel AST, you probably wouldn't want the rule to run at all. Maybe we can switch the existing second Boolean param to an object, to Boolean or to a type union of Boolean and an options object. Thoughts? So yeah, I think this is pretty reasonable as folks have discussed. If you're using the different AST than what we work with, then I think we should throw an error personally. So, awaiting response. That wasn't so bad. I always get nervous saying something that was opened a while ago and has been in queue for a while, but maybe it's just that, we haven't had timesets. All right. Ooh, dependency dashboard. I wonder. Looks like they made the PR. Oh god, does that mean we have pull requests now? New ones? Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Great. Okay, moving on. Another one from Rebecca Stevens. Yay. 6893. Pinned to the chat. By the way, I'll just echo this again. If y'all want to talk about anything, TypeScript, open source, life, coding, etc., getting a job, let me know. I'm always happy to chat. But in the meantime, whoops, another fun one. Let's do this. Boop. V6, type matches specifier, add ability to match via a pattern. Okay, so in V6 we added a utility function, types matches specifier, because we made a standardized format for rule options to say a specific file, library, and or package for their options. That's useful because some rules people have continuously asked for a way to change their behavior on specific, say, value types. Like, let's say a rule should work differently on functions from your utility library. So we added a standard format for that. And now we want to be able to add a dependency on a library and do fuzzies matches in that utility function. So Rebecca wants to reuse this format in a couple other ones, isInVivo type and ESLint plugin functional, some other libraries. And so we have one approval and want to see someone else from the triage team. So still under triage, just waiting for other folks. So I know Brad and Josh have been active lately. So I'll just ask them. So not much for me to do here, actually. Just repinging other folks, and I'll come back to this later. Moving on then. All right. False positive, so got another issue. Moving on to Swander's issue, which looks like we thought it was a dupe, but then actually reopened. So, oh yeah, it looks like this was meant to be, oh, not sure I should be handled. Okay, so yeah, let's see if I should shout him out. Nope. Moving on to now looking at a rule issue that was originally thought to be a dupe, but actually might not be. Boop, 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 boop. No unnecessary condition. False positive for nullish coalescing assignment of uninitialized variable. What? Oh boy. So TypeScript's logic around variables that don't have an initial value can be a little tricky. You'd think this n variable's type is number, but and that's what TypeScript says. But in actuality, TypeScript understands that it's n or undefined, or like we understand it's n or undefined. So like the type system doesn't match the practical reality. Unexpected conditional or unnecessary conditional. So yeah, type system doesn't. The way we're using the type system hasn't told us that it could be null or undefined because it's uninitialized. So this was originally closed as a duplicate of 6635 because that talks about exact optional property types, and that's an accepting PR's bug. But it's a similar-ish issue, but not the same. This one is the type system being wacky in edge KC when it comes to optional properties. That's so funny. Okay, yeah, So our issue is actually that it's uninitialized stuff. Yeah, so initialization is tracked outside the type system. So yep, I think we should accept PRs in this one. Yeah, we'll have to add logic to the rule that handles initialization, even though the base TS APIs were, even though, to understand whether the value was definitely not, was maybe not initialized yet. I would hope the TS APIs were already able to call the ES tree and or TypeScript APIs were already able to call and track that. If not, I bet the scope manager probably can. Shrug. Haven't looked too deeply. Good luck. Actually, yeah, before I post some vagaries, let me look actually at the scope for this. So this says this variable here there's a scope, and in the scope we have module scope, and we have this variable scope here. So let's look at this fella. Do we have a set variables? Yeah, and all sorts of variables declared. Do we have any child scopes, module scope, references to this identifier, resolve? Yeah, I don't know. So I'm just going to remove my comment. It doesn't actually add anything. Just that bit of it. All right, triaged. And if I refresh, there we go. Great. Moving on, something that I filed April 24th, and no one's looked at it at all. Oh no, people have. All right, let's take a look. Actually, what was the last comment? So yeah, I'm thinking I'll have to close this out or mark it as accepted. Now, an issue from me. What's going on? No unnecessary type assertion. Poor message for missing type parameter constraint. What does that mean? Oh, this is from PartyKit. Yeah, I met SudoPie, who makes PartyKit, at a conference around April. It was React Miami. And then, I don't remember if this was before that or after something. I took a look at the PartyKit code to convert it to using Gus. And, oh yeah. Yeah, I sent a PR. Cool. 3.1. Suno's really cool, by the way. Would recommend finding a conference they're going to and grabbing Cuban lunch. All right. The assertion is unnecessary since it does not change the type of the expression. DB list as map string uint array. Aha. Because t equals unknown. Wait a second. Right now, it's promise map string uint array. If we remove this, it becomes promise map string unknown, which is different because the default for the type parameter defaults to unknown, which is, well, the default. But okay, so yeah, the actual issue is that list is generic, await list is generic, and it's not unnecessary because we're providing a different value. It's different generics. Okay. There's unfortunately no easy way for us to fix this. When we inspect the type of the expression being asserted, we don't see mapstring unknown, we see mapstring t. We could do some extra checks. We might be able to check if it's defined with a generic. So Yeah. All right. So, accepting PRs. Great. Brad is right. Remove triage. Brad's right. This is not an easy fix, but it is a fix we could take in. Sounds good to me. Moving on. Alrighty. Making progress. I got 12 minutes left. I'm not going to get through all these. We'll see how it goes. Another one from me. Make allow constant loop conditions more granular. Back up to the 7,000s. Another of mine. Yeah, I like closing out old threads, or at least getting to a non in the queue state for old things. It feels good. Spring cleaning, except in the middle of August. Make allow constant loop conditions more granular. Okay, so we have this no unnecessary condition rule. Allow constant loop conditions, which is a Boolean, indicating that things like a while true, a for true, do while true are all allowed. Disabled by default because cases like while should run true are likely errors, but that means it also flags cases like while true, which is more of a stylistic preference. How about making it more granular? So right now we could change it to the string union never, only, simple, and always, and then later make it it's a weird way for me to phrase that. Let's edit that. We're in a future major version. Breaking change to. That's what I meant to say. Current never is the default value and alias by false. To be. So next, only symbol becomes the default value. All right. So should run true while should equals true, and pass while true. We should explicitly know the literal true and the rule. Brad is saying that the default should be allow true and explicitly ignore the literal true. The type, not the type, the literal value. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I've never seen someone do while true accidentally. So, yeah. Makes sense. So just to be clear, Brad, I agreed that I've never seen while true be anything other than intentional. Oh yeah, so this is like an extension of a base rule, which is enabled by default. I wonder if we should actually suggest a change for the base rule. Yeah, I might want to do that actually. So let me go do that, because hey Diana. I am safe. Thank you for checking in. The frequent hurricanes and bridge collapses and tornadoes of the Pennsylvania area have not gotten to me yet. I did go to the Jersey Shore for the first time with some friends and my spouse over the weekend, and it rained very quickly, so that was nice. Are you safe? How are you doing? For context, Diana messaged me asking if I was okay because there was like some natural disaster or some such in Philadelphia when I was away. And I thought that was really nice. No one else did. Everyone's like, it doesn't matter. Or, he's fine. You're safe. That's good. So I want to say, so yeah, what's happening here is I'm suggesting making no unnecessary Oh, that's a different rule. No constant condition. Got it. So let's ignore my options and just go with always ignoring true, the value true. Do you think... actually, let's... so just to be clear, Brad, my takeaway is to add the options and make the default. Actually, no, Brad is saying the same thing as me. Okay. I think I can just mark this as accepting PRs. Yay! Alright, I'm probably got one more of these left in me because I have to go in 6 minutes. So, any subjects to bring up, things y'all want to talk about, things, topics, subjects, areas, TypeScript, not TypeScript, let me know. Let's go one more. Is there anything juicy? I'll just go in order. Sharky98. Okay, so we've gotten to June in our backlog. That's nice. Let's one last one. Pinning, socializing, almost done. One last run around docs and name casing. Always fun. And is this from someone who's on the things? This type of auto-generated avatar generally gives me the hint of no. Just meant to copy and paste that. Come on, Twitter. Ugh. Hey, my shortcuts are not going well. I've done a lot today. Look at this thread. Oof. A lot of little triages. Alright. Pascal case functional components and naming convention rule. Fun fact, it's function components, not functional. Minor distinction. React and non-React packages. It's known that React convention is to use Pascal case component while the rest is Campbell case. This is true. Components, functions, and classes, especially since most are now functions these days, are generally Pascal case. Fun fact, the difference between Pascal case and Camel case. Camel case is lowercase at the beginning. Pascal is upper. Otherwise the same. And this was mentioned in a couple of other issues, but it's not actually in the docs. So the problem is, there's nothing to distinguish a React component from a non-component. Sticking points for various research exploration projects within the React team. Brad used to work in like dev tooling and such, I believe, in Meta. So Brad would know. Yeah, I think maybe it could be worded a bit differently. I think we can accept some docs on this one. Let's look at what typescript-eslint naming conventions looks like right now. I'm gonna have to zoom out this. Does it mention components? Yeah. It doesn't. We don't have a mention of component or React or whatever. Accepting new PR. Accepting PR to add an explicit note about UI library function components. A few thoughts. It's function components, not functional. This is nitpicky, but you can have function components with non-functional side effects because of use effect and co. It's fine to mention React, good for search, but it should be clear. But it's good to mention React for searchability, but as with this issue description, it should be clear that it works with other UI libraries. I'd suggest naming at least solid and Preact. So we want to make sure we mention components as function, not functional, and then suggest maybe at least, yeah, so that's just a couple thoughts. Cool. Well, Danny, thanks for tuning in. Sorry that I haven't gotten too much now that you're here, but I feel satisfied with the amount of work I got done. So I'm going to go have lunch. Last thing to do is find someone to raid. And I normally go for the lowest numbers, and these are all pretty good numbers. So let's raid Matteo Kalina. Thanks, Emma. Thank you. So this was fun. Actually, before I do that, let me bang Josh. I always forget what my bangs are. Bang sponsor. Yes. I'm independent open source maintainer in the TypeScript ecosystem. You just saw a slice of life for my maintenance work day to day. So thanks y'all for coming, and feel free to reach out to me on social media if you want to talk about anything. I stream generally Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2:30 Eastern Tuesdays, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Thursdays, which was today. Bye, y'all. I'm just seeing what you see. Ah. Haha. Ad break.